ladies of the night here in the brothel of slating intellectual lusts in order to get our next party member. So let's get right to it. Yves the Tail Chaser. This fetching young woman has a faraway look in her soft sea green eyes. Greetings. Greetings, I am Yves, the Tail Chaser. What a coincidence. I too chase tails. Yves continues, unperturbed. Have you come to trade tails? I had some questions first. Yves nods quietly. Why are you called the Tail Chaser? Once upon a time, a girl came to an oracle who was rumored to know many things and asked of it a boon. Her life was in need of direction, so she asked this oracle as to what would give her purpose. Go on. Now, the oracle was not evil, but it was vague and tended towards drink, which caused it to be obscure in many matters of judgment and focus. Its only answer to the girl's question was that within that one story that she would hear in her lifetime was the truth that she sought. The girl went off and collected stories which she chases to this day, not knowing which of the thousands hold the truth. Such is the danger of a foolish question and the wisdom of an unspoken one. Can you tell me about this place? That is part of Mistress Grace's story, which is not mine to tell. She has said that when she nears the end of her years she shall tell me, and only if I pledge never to share it with another. She hopes that she will never need to tell me her tale, for she hopes I will find my own story before that time and leave this place. I think she fears that my life will be squandered in searching for this tale, and not acting upon what I already know. But it cannot be helped. Your own story? Oh, we already heard this. Do you know anything about Ravel Puzzlewell? The tale of Ravel Puzzlewell, frightener of children, begins and ends with a question. What can change the nature of a man? She said the line. Go on. Many were the times she posed this riddle to those who approached her, those who sought to glean from her the strange magics that she alone seemed to possess. All attempted to answer her query, but to no avail. And they found the price of their wrong answer to be some horrible fate, always more terrible than the last victim's. To recount their various torments would be to speak of things that nightmares are woven from. Go on. The tale strikes me in this way. Ravel herself knew not the answer to this question, but she lusted for such an answer. Only the why of the matter remained in question. Why did the nature of a man matter to one of the Grey Sisters, especially to one of such power as Ravel? Go on. It is said that she put the question to the Lady of Pain, not directly, but shouted it to Sigil itself, daring for the lady to answer. When no reply was forthcoming, she wove terrible magics that threatened to open the cage and let the fury of the plains roll in like a wave. Go on. She received no answer other than banishment. To this day, no one knows the answer to Ravel's question, and now there is no one to petition, for Ravel herself is gone, lost to the plains.
Updated my journal.
Wait, there is more. Though my tale ends with Ravel's demise, there are some that claim the hag still lives. There is a silent prostitute here who once talked of such things, but she speaks no longer. If she would speak to you, she might tell you more of Ravel. What else could you tell me of this silent prostitute?
Updated my journal.
Echo? Yves frowns, thinking. I once heard a tale of a girl who knew the word that, if spoken, would undo the multiverse. Perhaps this is Echo. Ask Delora though. I understand that she sometimes meets with one who knew Echo before she stopped speaking. May we trade tales? Yves nods. I would like that very much, yes. Tell her the story of your waking up in the mortuary. Yves leans forward as you tell the tale of your awakening in the Dustman's mortuary. She seems to devour your every word. As you finish, she smiles at you. I shall remember this tale. I too will tell a tale of the Dustman, chapters of dust. Go on. There are chapters in the Dead Book, the massive tome with which the Dustmen keep their records. That records the passing of all that lives into the eternal boundary. In this book, there are chapters that are not but dust, and it is believed that the names therein are lost souls who cannot die, but must suffer life eternally until history itself dies and grants them release. Tell her the story of the Alley of Lingering Sighs. I shall remember this tale. And now I have one for you. Before I begin, I must ask, do you know what a Modron is? No. Modrons are creatures of total law, almost more machinery than living things. There are many different sorts of Modron, but all have their place in a very rigid, carefully organized hierarchy. So dedicated are they to this system that they cannot communicate with or even consider the existence of Modrons who are not their immediate superiors or inferiors. I understand now. Then I shall tell you the tale of the clock and the Quattrone. Go on. Once upon a time there existed a Modron. It was newly created, its logic fresh and untested, and it had come to Sigil, following the commands of its Modron superiors. It knew of nothing but commands and dictates, of obedience and passing along the orders of its superiors. For you see, Modrons are only aware of the commands of their immediate superiors. They have no grasp of a higher authority. Until this one. One day it came upon a small shop within which there was a small clock that could no longer tell time. It was cracked along the edges, the wheels of its hands broken. The Modron immediately set itself to work at getting the parts to fix the broken clock. It made a new wooden housing for the clock's parts, replaced the bent springs, carefully filed and oiled the clockwork machinery, and carved new hands from the sparse metal available to it. The newly repaired clock's precise ticking reminded it of the great gears of Mechanus, and it comforted it as much as anything may comfort a Modron. And what the Modron never came to understand was that it truly loved this clock that it had worked on, and for reasons it could not explain, elected to remain in Sigil and be with the clock for the rest of its years. Tell her the story of the Silent King. The petitioner at the gate. It was far after peak when the distant pounding was heard at the gates of the prison. Karras, the oldest mercy killer known to the faction, dragged himself from his post, making his way down the hall to the great gates that had separated the punished from the outside world. The pounding did not fade as he reached the gate and spoke to it. He called out and received no answer. He opened the gate, far from feeling caution, but a strange, compelling sensation. A haggard figure was on bent knees just beyond the door. Her hands were bloody from where they had been pounding against the gate, and her breath came in labored gasps. As the flickering light from the interior prison chamber poured across the cobbles, she glanced up at the mercy killer who stood framed in the doorway and began to sob with relief. He felt himself mirrored in all but his gender as he stared at the woman, and he was stirred by her presence. Karras found himself unsure of what to say, so he simply waited for the woman to provide an explanation. She did. It was a simple statement, but of utmost importance, and it made Karras, whose knees ached painfully with every movement, bend down and help the woman to her feet. He brought her in from the outside, guiding her gently into the passage beyond. She had said that an injustice had been done, And that was all that Karis needed to hear. In the end, it came to pass that she could not fulfill her duty as a Fury, for a man guilty of a blood crime had died unpunished. She begged Karis and the Mercy Killers for aid, and so they executed her. She had failed in her charge. Tell her the story of Requint's curse. Yves leans forward as you tell the tale of Requint's odoriferous curse. Oh. I shall remember this tale, and now I have one for you, the Gilded Tale. Upon the plain of Isgard is the Gilded Hall, where those sensates that seek the pleasure of gullet and loin can be found. They indulge these passions in earnest, never realizing that the doors of the hall never open, and that there is no clear path back to the civic fest hall. They are the unwanted sensates, the ones that do not truly believe in the faction, but instead seek only pleasure for pleasure's sake. Are prisoners who do not realize they are such truly prisoners? Tell her the story of the Alley of Dangerous Angles. I shall remember this tale, and now I have one for you, the Lady's Suitor. The tale concerns a suitor of the Lady of Pain, one of many over the years. He was a young man who was obsessed with the mistress of Sigil. He saw her everywhere, in every corner of her city. He would hear the rustling of her robes, the scrape of her blades, and grew infatuated beyond all reason. He hoped that if he worshipped her, that he would at least be able to see her, and so worship her he did. He was found dead on the blood-soaked steps of his own home, grievous stab wounds covering the whole of his body, but his eyes were open wide, upon his lips was a triumphant smile. Tell her the story of Farad. I shall remember this tale, and now I have one for you. Once came a man who had experienced the most beautiful thing in the multiverse. It was his intention to place the experience within one of the Civic Fest Hall's sensory stones, magical devices which held feelings and memories for an eternity, leaving them for others to partake of. But he thought about it. Wouldn't its being shared dilute the experience? So he held it to himself, precious thing that it was, and aged with the memory. But as he aged, the memory became tarnished and beaten, and he could no longer recall the glory of the experience. Tell the story of Ignis. Gibbs leans forward as you tell the tale of Ignis and the art that burned within him. I shall remember this tale, and now I have one for you, the execution. Once a murderer roamed Sigil streets, a black-hearted man by the name of Cossacks. He had been blessed by his abyssal mother so that no one could strike him with an intent to harm, or they themselves would die. He reveled in his blessing, using it to start fights and murder anyone who crossed his path. During one of his murderous rages, he was captured by the Harmonium with nets and brought before the governors. The trial was short, final, yet Cossacks laughed at the proceedings, knowing that no one among them could harm him without dying horribly. At the final day of his trial, he was proclaimed guilty and sentenced to death. Cossack's sentence proclaimed by the governors was this: confinement for thrice 30 days, during which time you shall give up your life, be declared dead, and your body removed when all signs of life cease. Cossacks laughed and dared any of them to try and harm him, yet the court was silent. The Mercy Killers led Cossacks to their prison and locked him in a dark, empty cell. There was no cot, no lights, and the only door was a steel grate in the ceiling. As they lowered him into the cell, the Mercy Killer told him, "In the corner of your cell, you will find a chalice. It holds poison. Your death will be swift." "Aren't you going to execute me?" Cossacks snarled at the guard. "No one in Sigil shall lay a hand on you with intent to harm," came the Mercy Killer's reply. Then I spit on your cowardice, Cossacks laughed, feeling for the chalice in the darkness, then hurling it at the wall and shattering it. Its poison dripped from the walls and dried until it was no more. Come then, you will have to try and kill me now. But there was no response from the grate in the ceiling. It was then that Cossacks noticed the cell had no cot, no lights, and no food and water. All that remained was the shattered chalice, the poison gone, and for the first time, Cossacks knew the icy touch of death's approach. In twice 30 days, the grate opened, and Cossac's body, now cold, was taken from the cell. It had given up its life, and the execution had been carried out. Bort, do you have a story to trade?
Me? Why do I have to tell a story?
Just tell a story, Mort.
Fine. An elderly man was sitting alone on a dark path, right? He wasn't certain of which direction to go, and he'd forgotten both where he was traveling to and who he was. He sat down for a moment to rest his weary legs, and suddenly looked up to see an elderly woman before him. She grinned toothlessly and with a cackle spoke, "Now, your third wish. What will it be?" "Third wish?" The man was baffled. "How can it be a third wish if I haven't had a first and a second wish?" "You had 2 wishes already," the hag said. "But your second wish was for me to return everything to the way it was before you had made your first wish. That's why you remember nothing. Because everything is the way it was before you made any wishes." She cackled at the poor Burke. "So it is that you have 1 wish left." "All right," said the man. "I don't believe this, but there's no harm in wishing. I wish to know who I am." "Funny," said the old woman as she granted his wish and disappeared forever. "That was your first wish."
Yves smiles. An interesting tale, Mort. And now I've one for you and your companion, the Fiend's Game. A fiend sometimes wandered the wilderness of a certain prime world in the guise of a friendly old man. One day he came upon some hunters in the wood. "What are you doing?" the fiend asked. The hunters told him, and the fiend nodded. "I have never been on a hunt before." The hunters invited the old man to come along, and the group eventually came upon a glade where several deer were grazing. The hunters carried crossbows but did not fire, and the fiend asked them why. "They are unarmed," the hunters chuckled, batting their crossbows. "We hunt nothing that does not have the ability to defend itself. After all, where's the sport in that?" The fiend nodded at this and promptly gated in 3 of his fellows. The hunters led them on a merry chase, but eventually they were caught and eaten. Anna, do you have a story to trade? I'm no good at telling such things, I'm not. She frowns and waves her hand as if trying to shoo away the eddy. Don't be asking me for such nonsense now. Yves smiles at Anna. But I would very much like to hear your story. Please share your story, Anna. Come on already, fiendling. You already have one tale you won't part with. Anna looks uncomfortable, her tail lashing slowly back and forth. Well, I know one story. She suddenly becomes angry, glaring at Yves. But you might not like it. You won't, so don't be blaming me for your choking it out of me. Go ahead, Anna. Anna scowls, then finally relents with an exasperated sigh. I heard a story when I was a wee lass. This Burke's walking home real late, near Ante Peak, and passes an old toothless crone in a dark and otherwise empty street. Where are you going? She asks him. Home, to my wife and Kip, he says. Near the slags? She asks him. Sure enough, he says. So she asks him a favor, to take a box she's got the debtor's pit and give it to a woman there. Now this Burke's a real sap. Too nice to say no, despite the fact he's sure something not quite right about this old crone, and agrees. But what's the woman's name? He asks. Where does she live? Where should I look for her if she's not by Debtor's Pit? The woman hands him the box, a wooden thing wrapped in colored cloth, and tells him to just go and she'll be there. Finally, she warns him. And whatever ye does, do not open the box. What's in the box? So he takes it home with him and hides it in the rafters, thinking he'll bring it by Debtor's Pit when it's light out. His wife, though, seeing him hiding the box, gets right jealous, thinking it's a gift for a lover or something, and opens it up as soon as he's not looking. Well, turns out the box was full of gouged out eyes and severed male members with their hair still on them. Her scream brought the back running. He remembered what the crone said, got right scared, and wrapped the box back up. He went out straight away to Debtor's Pit, and sure enough there was another old hag waiting there for him. He hands her the box and says to him, "This box has been opened and looked into." The poor Berg tries to deny it, but she gets this dreadful look on her face. "You've done something horrible," she tells him, then disappears. That done, he hurries back to his kip. He's feeling ill when he gets back and takes to bed. His wife bitterly regretted opening the box and all, but it was too late. The next day he died of a rotten disease, and the first thing to go was his eyes and stem. Anna nods grimly, her tale complete. Yves smiles. "That was a wonderful tale, Anna. You should never hesitate to share it. Now I've one for you and your companion. The Parched Land. Once, a large village was struck by a terrible drought. A farmer journeyed to the worship in stone, and again implored it as to the cause of the drought. He asked the stone why it did nothing when the fields were parched and dying, why the animals and the people suffered while the stone did not a thing. "Have we not given enough offerings?" the farmer asked, begging almost upon his hands and knees. But the stone did not respond. It merely sat and cast its shadow. "Dakon, do you have a story to trade?" Dakon nods solemnly. "I shall impart the tale of Akalai drowning." Dakon tells the story of Akalai, a foolish Gitzerai of myth who had become lost in the chaos of Limbo. Normally, a single Gitzerai may use their focus and mental discipline to form the chaos around them into a small, habitable environment. Akalai, however, asked so many useless and unfocused questions in her quest to return home that her isle of matter dissolved around her, and she drowned. Fascinating, Dakon. Let me share with you and your companion another version of your tale that I have heard. Dakon looks attentive, and perhaps a little surprised. Yves goes on to tell a different version of Dakon's tale, in which Akalai was driven from the Gitzerai city of Shreklor for her constant useless prattling. One day she encountered a Slayadi on his way to the spawning stone. She hastily erected a wall of chaos matter, which even the ravenous Slayadi found difficult to break down. Hungrily it waited and spoke to her through the wall. She asked it questions, and as she became more absorbed in her pointless queries and the Slayadi's answers, her own wall decayed and collapsed upon her, and thus she drowned in the matter of Limbo. Okay.
All right.
Marissa. Squinting at the figure behind the partition, you can barely make out a shapely female form in the darkness. She turns to you, but you can see nothing of her face. Greetings. The figure answers in a voice that is slow and deadly, like a steel dagger drawn across stone. Yes? Come to speak with Marissa, have you? Quite rude of you to enter a darkened room, storming behind my partition like so. Rude and foolhardy. You can hear a faint whispering sound, like a slight breeze, or the hissing of serpents. She's a basilisk.
Wow, creepy shit.
My apologies, my lady. I wasn't sure if someone was here.
But it would seem there is someone in this room, wouldn't it? Shall you be on your way then?
Not just yet. I had some questions. Do you know anything about Ravel Puzzlewell?
No, do you? Go ask Yves. She collects many tales and can probably tell you something of use.
What can you tell me about the silent prostitute?
Yes, Echo. I knew another Echo once, though her name was written differently. I know nothing of this girl, though. Ask Delora of her. She made friends of an old lover of Echo's, I have heard.
Can you tell me about this place?
No, I'm not in the mood. I'm sure one of the girls here would be happy to tell you all about Mr. Grace's little school for aspiring sensates. Go find one of them.
Sensates?
Yes, a silly little group devoted to experience and the like. I certainly need not be a sensate to be a sensate. And once I've gotten access to the fest hall and grown tired of its sensoriums, I'll simply move on.
Tell me about the sensoriums.
They are halls where sensations are stored in objects called sensory stones. There are two, a public sensorium in the Civic Fest Hall open to everyone, and a sensate sensorium open only to members of the Society of Sensation. Sensates.
What are you doing here?
Sitting here with my thoughts, listening to you voice yours. The silence of both of them, literal then figurative, is deafening.
Why do you have such a terrible disposition?
Because something of mine is missing, and something unwanted has arrived on my doorstep in its place.
What's gone missing?
Updated my journal.
My veil, my crimson veil. Have you seen it, perchance?
No. What's it for? Is it just a normal veil?
Not quite. It aids me in communication. Face-to-face communication, that is.
Why do you need to hide your face?
Enough with these asinine questions. How tiresomely annoying you are. Now, what do you want? It only hurts when I laugh. Hello, Robin for days. How are you this fine evening?
Just some questions answered. Why is it so dark in here?
To prevent any unwanted and embarrassing casualties. Now, what is it that you want? Why is it that you want?
Red Hot Chili Peppers are timeless, yeah. That was Danny, California, right? That line was from Danny, California, right? I haven't listened to them in a long time, but I still remember that song. I want you to come into the light.
Nay, and the addition of please will not serve to persuade me. Now, what do you want? Surely you did not come all this way to see me.
I do want to see what you look like.
You have no such want.
Oh, I do.
What do you look like? The darkness hides us both. Let's make it a game. I'm frightfully bored. Let me guess. Are you a human male?
Yes.
Are you wounded in the throat?
I can't see, but I believe so, yes. Describe yourself for me. I'm tall, muscular, and horribly scarred. Indeed. How are you so horribly scarred? Wait, never mind. I do not wish to know. Now describe yourself for me. Marissa describes herself as a shapely, pale-skinned, beautiful woman with a forked tongue, her hair made up of writhing asps, and glowing eyes, which you assume she must be keeping shut. Are you a fiend?
Updated my journal.
Marissa laughs slightly, the sound accompanied by a slight hissing. No, hardly, though I have powers some might call fiendish. My glance turns living things to stone, for instance, from beings of flesh to statuary, with the bat of an eyelash. In my childhood, they were like the opposite of Linkin Park. Linkin Park was ultra divisive. Either people were zealous followers or hated them, while on the other hand, everyone could agree the Red Hot Chili Peppers were great. Yeah, I hated Linkin Park as a kid. I didn't like, a lot of my classmates in school listened to it, but I couldn't get into it. It wasn't my thing. Living things to stone. Could you turn, say, a limb into a statue? I suppose I could, had you a limb and were I inclined to do so, and I might be so inclined had I my crimson veil. Case in point right away. Okay, we need to find her veil.
Might as
I
well.
know there's a secret door here.
I'm gone.
We'll go there later.
I'm gone.
Might as well. Got it, got it. Got it.
Your will be done.
I'm gone.
Nameless one barges into a room, loots every single container in sight, refuses to elaborate, leaves.
Why not? Got it.
What's up? Sure, why not?
The striking young woman has skin the color of burnished copper. A translucent white dress, held precariously by golden clasps, is draped carefully over her shapely form. Greetings. The woman nods and smiles briefly. The scent of her hair, sweetly perfumed, fills your nostrils. I had some questions. She nods. Who are you? She smiles and curtsies, but offers no response. Is your name Echo?
Updated my journal.
She nods, smiling pleasantly. May I ask why you can't communicate? She sighs softly and nods. Do you know the word that will undo the multiverse if it's spoken? Her eyes widen in surprise, then she gives you a beaming smile, rolling her eyes and shaking her head. Can you tell me about this place? No, she probably can't. She looks at you, then raises an eyebrow. Do you know anything about Ravel Puzzlewell? Her eyes flash and she smiles. She nods at you. What? What do you know of her?
Updated my journal.
She simply looks at you. I'm trying to find Marissa's crimson veil. Do you know where it might be? She shakes her head, shrugging, and gives you an apologetic look.
All right.
All's well.
I shall serve.
Done.
This petite, attractive young woman is smiling blissfully and humming to herself. Her wide, pale blue eyes seem to constantly drink in her surroundings as she looks about. Greetings. The smiling young woman curtsies gracefully and looks up to you, smiling. Well met, good sir. I'm Nenny. And how are you this fine... She suddenly notices your scars and places a gloved hand over her mouth. Oh my, you're hurt. All over. Mort spins around you, mocking the girl's obviousness. Powers above, Chief. She's right. I never noticed before. You're covered in scars. They're all old scars. I'm fine. She nods quietly, lowering her hand. I had some questions. Huh? She can't seem to tear her eyes from your scars. Oh, how shameful of me. Don't mind my rude staring. I am named Nenny. She makes a little curtsy. And it is my great pleasure to welcome you to our brothel for the slating of intellectual lusts. She returns to staring at your body. You have tattoos under the scars too. What's that one? She points to one of your tattoos. Those. Looks fascinating. Look at the way the lines of ink. I think that's ink. She squints at the tattoo, then reaches out to touch it. I think that's ink. She traces a finger around the edge of the tattoo. Is it ink? And what a pattern! Look at the way the lines intersect here. She touches the center of the tattoo. That's simply amazing. She purses her lips and frowns in disappointment. I could make it out better if there weren't so many scars. There's nothing to be done about the scars. They're permanent. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Pox on me for even mentioning them. She cringes. But I have to know. Are you absolutely sure you're alright? I'm looking at you and I can't help but believe that you're not in some pain. I have amnesia, but that is all. Amnesia? Then he blinks, then brightens. Loss of memory. You are so lucky. She chimes perkily. Everything must be so new to you. That's... I'd prefer for a number of things to be much more familiar. Like who? She smiles, then giggles at herself. I mean, like what? I'd like to know if I knew any of my companions before. Ah. Nenny furrows her brow, thinking hard. I guess that makes sense. I sure wish I could help. Well, you could answer a question for me. What are you doing here? I'm talking to you, silly. She giggles and pokes you in the belly. Just like I talk to all the patrons here. All the prostitutes do. That's what the brothel's about. Learning new ways to talk and share experiences and understand other people. How do you tell me about this place? I'm sure I can. The Brother of Slating Intellectual Lust is a school that was started by Mistress Fall from Grace. The prostitutes here, like me, are taught the ins and outs of talking to people, all to help us learn more about ourselves and others. I love it here. It's a non-stop wave of experiences crashing into me, filling my head with fresh new ideas. Mort mutters to himself. And yes, it's good that there's something in there. What can you tell me about the silent prostitute? Oh, Echo. Yes, she's a mysterious one, isn't she? Do you know that she never speaks? Truly. Nenny leans in and lowers her voice. I think she was emotionally wounded, so badly that she may never speak again. I bet Dolora knows, because she sometimes talks to the last lover Echo had when she still spoke. I'm trying to find Marissa's Crimson Veil. Do you know where it might be? Then he frowns deeply. What? Oh, I just can't. I can't say anything bad about anyone. I'm just no good at it. It's not bad to point out a thief, Nenny. Oh, but I don't know if she's a thief. Nenny bites her lip and looks at you with bleeding eyes, as if she just wishes you'd leave the topic alone. Look, why don't you try and say something nice about her? Oh, alright. Nenny puts her hands on her hips and frowns deeply, almost exaggeratedly. You resist the temptation to laugh. Oh, I dislike her very, very much. She pauses for a moment, then looks at you out of the corner of her eye, as if gauging your reaction. Was that convincing? No, not really. Then he frowns. I knew I wouldn't be any good at this. She looks up at you, depressed. Do you know how hard it is to say bad things about someone? It feels so wrong. Why don't you practice on me, Nenny? I suppose I could try. She looks dubious. You big, mean, nasty brute. She puts her hands on her hips. Meanie. She looks at you. How was that? Put more accent on brute. You big, mean, nasty brute. Better. Now hit me. Then he clamps her hands over her mouth, looking shocked. Oh, I couldn't. I mustn't. She blinks. How does one hit somebody anyway? Go ahead. Do it lightly if you have to. Remember, I'm a mean, nasty brute. I deserve it. Then he slaps you. You barely feel it. She still looks shocked and frightened she hurt you. Oh, I'm sorry. Did that hurt? Tell me you're okay. Don't break character, Nenny. Come on, show me what you've got. You can say something bad. Just let it all out. Oh. Nenny draws her tiny frame to its full height, balls her hands into fists, puts them on her hips, and scrunches up her face in a cute scowl. Oh, damned be you! You deserved that for all the indignities you put me through, going out late at night. Her eyes roam up and down your body. Getting into fights and getting all scarred up. What are the kids going to think? Kids? What? Nenny's fury rises another notch. Have you forgotten our children? Are you so sudden with drink that you can't even remember that we have children? Nenny throws up her hands in exasperation. You're hopeless, clueless, and a lot of other lesses I won't mention right now. Calm down. Time to let go of the anger. Nenny sighs tiredly. Whew, that was easier than I thought. No kidding. And I'm sure I'll do better next time. I'm so excited to have learned something new. Thank you. Sure. I'm trying to find Marissa's Crimson Veil. Do you know where it might be?
Updated my journal.
I'll bet I do. I saw that nasty Kimashi Addertongue sneaking out of Marissa's room one night. They're both meanies, you know. But Kimashi's really awful. Anyway, I talked to her first. Do you know anything about Ravel Puzzlewell? No, sorry. That's a great name though, huh? I'll bet she's a really interesting person. Hey, you should ask Yves about her. Yves collects all kinds of stories. That's all I wish to know.
Aye? Right.
And your path is mine.
Juliet, this dark-haired young woman is staring listlessly off into space, sighing miserably and occasionally picking at the seams of her green velvet gown. It's difficult to discern whether she's depressed or simply bored. Greetings. She gives you only the briefest of glances before staring off into the distance once more. Greetings, yes. I am named Juliet. How may I... Oh, never do mind. Leave me be, please. What's wrong? Oh, nothing at all. Only that I spend my days gazing into the face of mediocrity, seeing if anything can erase its dreadful, tedious passage. Is your life so tedious?
Alas, it is.
Dreadfully boring. Perhaps I could make it less boring for you, my lady.
No. 'Tis kind of thee to offer, though. I am already with a man, sir, and I do love him dearly. 'Tis just that I wish...
She taps her finger against her chin.
Something more of our liaison.
Is the relationship lacking then?
The only thing it lacks is excitement, sir. Our families took the news of our courtship splendidly. His siblings love my siblings, and our friends took our union to be blessed by the powers themselves. All fine and good, but things are going so smoothly. 'Tis not right to have such a trouble-free courtship.
I don't know about that.
Dost thou not? Hast thou ever had such a courtship?
She glances briefly at you.
'Twould seem that thy life is filled with a variety of problems, judging by the pallor of thy skin.
I can't remember any courtships I have had. The remnants of the ones I have encountered suggest that I may have had some problems.
'Tis just that all my friends have such interesting relationships, once fraught with turmoil, feuding families, daggers at one another's backs, poison, mad siblings, and irate fathers with large swords. I have a lover whose family loves me and whom the world loves. A great source of annoyance. How I wish I could formulate some way to spice things up.
Mort floats close to you, whisper.
I feel sorry for the lover. He doesn't know how bad he has it. A chick like this is nothing but trouble.
What did you have in mind, Juliet?
I am not sure. Some element of danger or jealousy, something intense.
I can pretend to be a jealous suitor if you want. Juliet glances at you, then scoffs.
Oh, I highly doubt. Actually, that idea is not half as adult as I had first thought. Thou dost certainly look dangerous enough.
She looks you in the eye as if appraising a horse.
Art thou as rugged and tough as thy appearance would indicate?
They don't make any of them tougher than me, I assure you.
Thou shalt do this for me then?
Yes, I'll do it.
Excellent, my love. Excellent. My love, Monte, may be found within the Civic Fest Hall. I thank thee.
Of course.
Updated my journal. Done.
As you make the search the armoire, its handles suddenly yank out of your grasp as the drawers slam themselves shut. A disdainful issues from the cabinet. Hello?
Hello indeed.
The armoire gives another
So, what have you here? A rogue after some ladies' frilly undergarments?
You talk?
Do I? Why, yes, I do.
Who are you?
I am Louise. And who are you? Thoughtless, uncouth fellow, rummaging about in other people's things.
Never mind that. What are you doing here?
Well, sir, if you must know, I am being an armoire.
But why are you being an armoire in this brothel?
I happen to have become an armoire because I want to be an armoire. Thank you very much. It's not to watch the ladies undressing, nor to have them place their soft, sweet-smelling undergarments in my drawers where they can rub against my skin. Such accusations are an insult to a practitioner of the magic arts. I am merely soaking in the experience of what it means to be an armoire. The sights, the smells, the sensations.
So all the women know about this then?
Yes, they do, and they wholeheartedly approve of, well,
Not with their entire hearts, exactly. And while they have not spoken of their approval in my presence, since they are not exactly aware that I am an armoire, I would not want them to know that I am anything but, and so have not been able to inquire upon the matter. Can you return to your normal form at will? The armoire seems to think about this for a moment. How can you tell that an armoire is thinking? I have no need to share such secrets with the likes of you, and besides, there is no cause to change back at the present moment, since I have not yet experienced the full sensations of being an armoire. It is a complex thing to hold and sort soft, frilly clothes, smelling of wondrous woman smells. A drawer slides open and closed, the sound mimicking a pleasant sigh. Can you tell me about this place? I would have a man find out for himself rather than tell him the whole of it. After all, that's half the joy of the entire experience. I'll only tell you that which you likely know already. It's called the brothel of slating intellectual lusts, and the prostitutes within specialize in the arts of language and communication. What can you tell me about the silent prostitute? Yes, Eka. She can't have always been mute, you know. Otherwise, I am most certain she would have learned some other means of communicating in the meantime. It must be a recent occurrence. I'm trying to find Marissa's crimson veil. Do you know where it might be? I heard she used to walk about in a crimson veil, but that she had recently taken to her room and darkened it. I did not know what had occurred. So this veil of hers is missing then? Yes. Do you know anything about Ravel Puzzlewell? Few folk who've dwelled in Sigil for any length of time don't. I wonder though, what is it about her you wish to know? I need to find her. You're mad, you know. Quite mad. Utterly barmy, I believe, is the common term for it. Ravel was banished from Sigil long ago, and if she's not dead, you'll wish you were should you somehow succeed in finding her. She devoured all those who sought her out before, it is said, and will likely do you the same disservice. I would leave well enough alone. Vivienne. This tall, elegant woman with her sharp features and regal demeanor is a striking example of aristocratic beauty. Her clothes appear to be spun of silver thread, and a small phial dangles from her necklace. She is perfumed with an exotic, erotic scent that seems to draw you towards her. Greetings. She looks you over, arcing an eyebrow with what you sense to be disdain. Greetings. My name is Vivienne. Am I to presume I am being summoned? No, I just had some questions. She nods imperiously. Go on, then. What are you doing here? Aside from my work as a student here, I am looking for something, actually. You would not have happened to have smelled it, would you? A student? Vivienne nods, looking vaguely bored. That is correct. Mistress Grace tutors us in the art of language and conversation, the ability to affect another with one's words, and to gain new insights into both them and ourselves. All the prostitutes here are such students. You asked if I had smelled something? Yes, I have a particular scent that seems to have gone wandering. It's somewhat difficult to keep in one place. I hope that someone did not take it by accident, though you never know with the ladies around here. She frowns. So, by any chance, have you smelled it somewhere? How can a scent go wandering? Vivienne shakes her head. I had meant to infer that it had been taken. The ladies here are a bit jealous at times, and have been known to take my various perfumes for themselves. This time, though, someone has absconded with my own personal scent. I worked on that scent, perfected it, and now poof, 'tis gone. I need not bear such annoyances. Vivian stomps her feet. I want that scent back, and I want it now. How would you know it if you found it? You would know it by smell, I assure you. It's quite striking, especially to men. I can help you. Vivian seems dubious. Are you certain? I do not wish to impose. No imposition. I am pleased to help such a lovely woman as yourself.
Updated my journal.
Anna mumbles something angrily. You catch the words spiking and idiot stick. Idiot stick. Vivian smiles and nods to you. You are too kind. Very well, if you run across it, please let me know. I am somewhat anxious to get it back. A one-of-a-kind scent, really. Can you tell me about this place? Mistress Grace's brothel? 'Tis a school where she tutors us in the arts of language and conversation. The ability to affect another with one's words, and to gain new insights into both them and ourselves. For many, this in preparation to become a member of the Society of Sensation. The Society of Sensation? You may wish to ask Fulcrum Grace, or better yet, someone at the Civic Fest Hall, about the Sensates. They would be happy to speak with you, I am certain. I'm trying to find Marissa's Crimson Veil. Do you know? Actually, no. What can you tell me about the silent prostitute? You mean Echo? She's a dear. Quiet. Vivian frowns. That may be part of the charm. There is all manner of speculation as to why she is silent, but I think 'twas that her heart was most horribly broken. Dolora might know best. She has been known to speak to a man Echo once loved before she lost her voice. I'm trying to find Marissa's Crimson Veil. Do you know where it might be? Were I to know its location, I'd set it alight and cast its remains into the deepest of pits. May that wretched thing never find her precious veil, and be confined to that chamber for the rest of her days. Do you know anything about Ravel Puzzlewell? Isn't she some historical figure? I can't quite recall. Who is she? A night hag from Sigel's past, I think. I hope she stays in the past then. Night hags are foul creatures, besmirching all femininity everywhere in the plains. She suddenly pauses. You may wish to ask Yves. She knows all sorts of peculiar little tales. Dolora. This dark-haired, pale-skinned woman has a cultured, refined look about her. As she turns to you, you note that her eyes, which you had previously thought to be grey, are the color of brushed steel. Greetings. The woman's voice is soft, calm, and without inflection. It has a certain far-away quality, as if somehow not attached to her. Greetings. I am called Dolora. May I serve you somehow? In what ways can you serve me, Dolora? She blinks her eyes, then touches her hand to her heart, bowing her head slightly. I am able to debate any scholarly or academic matter quite proficiently, if that is your wish. I am also well versed in various games of strategy, should you wish to play something. Though I have the materials for a few such games here. Debate, you say? Dolora nods. That is correct. I am neither a tome nor a tutor. I have no desire to educate my patrons. Should you have a matter to discuss, however, the 15 factions and their effect on Sigillian politics, the most effective battle stratagems for warring in Acheron, the meaning of existence itself, I would be most pleased to choose a counterpoint and engage you in debate. Choose a topic, see if you can best her. You choose a topic and begin. The debate lasts a long time as the two of you exchange points and counterpoints, each attempting to methodically undermine the other's position. As you speak, a strange feeling begins to come over you, a memory trying to surface. Memories of a great hall begin to form in your mind, a vast place full of well-dressed elites. A formal ball was taking place. Before you was a small, impeccably dressed fellow who wore a golden medallion. It was emblazoned with a symbol you dimly recall as the sign of one. The two of you stood in a circle of onlookers who gathered to listen to your debate. But that's impossible, the man was saying, looking perplexed. Oh, but it is, you recall yourself replying. I've made several inarguable points and given you a number of examples. You simply don't exist. But you can't. Were I to accept that, I'd... Yes, you'd cease to exist. And without a flash of light or puff of smoke, with no fanfare of any sort, the man was simply gone. The onlookers, ooh and ah. Some clapped. You remember giving a flourishing bow and walking away, a small satisfied smile upon your lips. You suddenly realize Delora is watching you closely. Are you feeling well? We might finish our discussion at another time, should you like. No, let's continue the debate. As hard-pressed as you are to beat Delora's infallible sense of logic, you eventually win out. She merely nods in approval. You are a most skilled debater, there is no denying. I do feel, though, that had I time to perform some research, you might not have bested me. Thanks. Delora nods. If you would like, we can debate once more upon the same topic. I could argue your position this time, should you desire. Wait, are you always so ruthless in a debate? Delora nods. Mistress Grace instructed me to show no mercy, for another of her students always allows a patron to win after a lengthy debate. It was Mistress Grace's desire that I provide a different sort of experience for the clientele. I see. Could we play a game now? Of course. Is there anything particular you wish to play? No, I don't really remember any games. Here then, allow me to show you one. Delora brings out a thin, lacquered box, which unfolds into a small board marked with a grid. The contents of the box prove to be a number of polished stone chips, half of them black, half of them white. This game goes by many names. Shall I explain the rules to you? Yes, please. Delora explains to you the rules of the game, how the chips are moved, how one bests one's opponent. It seems somehow faintly familiar to you. The rules are simple, yes, but a great deal of complexity lies within the game itself. It takes a great deal of time to master. Shall we play? Yes. As you play, you come to realize that you've done so before. You recall various ploys and strategies that have won you previous games, and employ every trick you know to beat her. Suddenly, a strange feeling comes over you, a memory trying to surface. Memories of a smoke-filled field of battle begin to fill your mind. Atop a great hill overlooking the fighting, you sat, mounted upon a massive four-legged beast. The braying of horns carried your orders to the troops below. Even as you watched, your forces divided, fleeing left and right as the foreign army fought its way up the hill to slay the enemy lord, you. The fools, you had thought, lips curling into a wicked smile. My knights shall charge down the hillside and stop their advance in an instant. And at that very moment, my retreating footmen will fall in to crush their flanks. Ah, yet another victory soon to be mine. You suddenly realize Delora is watching you intently. Are you feeling well? We might take up the game another day if you so wish. No, let's continue the game. Delora plays excellently, counteracting all but your most crafty moves. But eventually, your feints and calculating maneuvers win over her well-crafted strategies. She nods approvingly as she begins to put the game away. You are a fine player, perhaps a master. I commend you for your skill. Thanks, but do you always play so mercilessly? Delora nods. Mistress Grace instructed me to hold nothing back for another of her students' plays so that her opponent will always just manage a win. It was Mistress Grace's desire that I provide a different sort of experience, a true challenge rather than something that might be more pleasing to one's ego. I understand. I had some questions for you. Delora casts her eyes to the floor with a sound that might be a sad sigh. I am willing to serve you as a patron, but I have no wish to answer other questions at this time. My apologies, but I fear you shall simply have to bear with that for the time being. What's wrong? Anything I can help you with?
Updated my journal.
She looks up from the floor and into your eyes. Once more you're struck by the pale smoothness of skin, the cold depths of her silvery eyes. No, I fear not. My troubles are a matter of the heart. In time, I think, all things shall be resolved. Are you certain there's nothing I could do? Certain? Delora pauses as if thinking. No, I am not. My first love, Merriman, possesses still the keys to my heart. So long as he has them, I shan't be free to love another. This is the cause of my melancholy. Why don't you seek him out? Speak with him. Delora shakes her head. I may not leave this place. The reasons why are deeply personal and not to be shared with strangers, even ones who might bestow a kindness upon me. But suffice to say that I cannot seek out Merriman myself. Then I'll find this Merriman and speak to him on your behalf.
Updated my journal.
Delora nods, the slightest hint of a smile appearing on her lips. She bows her head. Were you to find and speak with Merriman, I would be most grateful. He is a member of the Society of Sensation, so you may wish to ask for him at the Civic Fest Hall.
All right.
Brothel caretaker. This man, looking slightly puzzled, nods as you approach. Greetings, sir. Might I ask how you came to be here? I just came down those stairs, through that strange door I found. I'd best work on concealing it a bit better then. He shrugs, then smiles at you. I'm the brothel's caretaker, by the way. You're not supposed to be down here, really, but it's alright if you look about for a bit. I had some questions. He smiles nervously. I really shouldn't even allow you down here, let alone be chatting with you. Please, no questions for now. Tell me what this place is, at least. It's where the lady's sensory stones are kept. They use them as diaries of a sort. You won't be able to use them, if that's what you're thinking. Each of them is attuned to one particular student of the brothel, so that only she may access that stone.
Updated
I
my
wish
journal.
to know. This clear stone, held in a mesh of engraved silver bands, pulses with a brilliant inner light. Inscribed into its base is the word Yves. Kimashi Addertongue. Delora. This transparent. It's Kesa Cerise. Evening gamers and good evening Junjun Kid. Yes, sec. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well this fine evening. That was Marissa. Vivienne. Yeah, we're just about to recruit our cleric. Echo. Nenny. Juliet. This grayish white stone, held in a mesh of engraved silver bands, pulses with light. Something was once inscribed into its base, but the writing has been scoured
Updated my
away.
journal. Done.
Alright, now we can finally get a cleric. Which is real heckin' pog.
How may I help you?
I spoke to 9 of the students, as you asked, but I could not find the 10th. And you could not find the 10th student? How curious. I'm thinking the 10th student is me, in which case I have spoken to all of them. Very well. And your thoughts? I have learned what it means to aspire to be a sensate, and that it is better to go in search of experience rather than have it come to you. Fall from Grace nods. Very well. I will travel with you, if you still desire my company. I do.
Ooh, looks like my skills have increased.
Oh, Mistress High and Mighty will be joining us. What do we need her for?
You couldn't possibly understand.
I wish she would fall from great height. I might even bump her off myself.
Alright, we have acquired our clericacy. Oh. Stop casting spells. Mortis level 7, that means an extra attack per round, so now he's got 2. That's pretty nice. She is a 7th level priest.
Yes?
She has 13 strength, 16 int, 16 whiz, 16 dex, 16 con, and 19 charisma. Not that it matters, because you can't change the party leader in this game.
Maud, I'm curious. What happened to your body?
Me? I'm the head of Vecna.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Mort is the head of Vecna.
I'm gone.
Okay. Actually, there's a charisma boost you can get here, I think.
Right. Got it.
Your path is mine.
I'm gone.
Look at her. She's beating this guy up. Head of Vecna, if that was the case, he would indeed be stronger even than Kangax. Oh yeah, Mort is the strongest. Oh, it's you again. Just can't get enough of me, huh? I was told you were seen sneaking away from Mercer's chambers recently. Is that connected with her missing veil somehow? Kimashi flies into a rage. Who told you that? She suddenly falls silent, glaring at you through narrowed eyes. If I was there, Burke, I didn't take her filthy veil. Search my room if you'd like. I catch you sniffing at my breeches though. I'll see to it you're never allowed in here again. Why would anyone ever sniff at your breeches?
Updated my journal.
Beats me. Someone's nicked more than a few pair of them, though. My favorite leather brassiere too, with the iron studs. Also, it might be an insider joke. There are a lot of Vecna items. Robe of Vecna, Eye of Vecna. And Mort would be the skull of Vecna on that list. Oh, I see. It's a... Yeah, I'm not really familiar with that whole Vecna lore thing. Kimashi said someone's been taking things from her room too. Have you seen anything odd?
Updated my journal.
Then his eyes suddenly go wide. Oh, that's right. You know, once I saw a man sneaking out of Kimashi's room while she was out talking to a patron. I watched the front doors all that day, but he never ever left. Isn't that odd? I don't think he could have made it out of window. And so I never figured out where he went. And then I totally forgot about it. Weird, huh? That it is. Well, luckily I remember who it was. It was this polymorphed mage. I had some questions. Nenny told me she saw a man leaving Kimashi Addertongue's room. I think that was you, Louise. You think? Think? How could you be so alarmingly rude, so ludicrously presumptuous as to spout forth such an accusation without being absolutely certain of your charges? How dare you, impertinent brassy cur! Why I ought to... As Luis rails and curses, his drawers open and close. You notice a small bundle of crimson cloth tucked alongside some clothes. The repeated opening and closing of the armoire drawers make it difficult to grab. Oh yeah, there's a dexterity check here. We're not gonna make it though. We have 10 dexterity. You stand poised at the edge of the armoire. It keeps gabbing on and on, but it never seems to stay open long enough for you to grab the cloth. Try and snap your hand in while the door is open. You simply cannot move your hand quickly enough to snatch the crimson cloth from within Louise. The most you could accomplish would be getting your fingers crushed. Well, beg and whine for the cloth. Oh, please stop that rubbish. It is quite tiresome and transcends all known meanings of the word boredom. Beg and whine some more. Stop! How tediously dull! You're making me quite drowsy. Keep on begging and whining. The armor yawns, exposing the crimson cloth where he rests snugly beside some undergarments. You dart your hand in and seize it before the drawer can close itself. Tucking it away, you notice that it is perfumed with a light, exotic, and most pleasant fragrance. Damn it! You rogue! Blackguard! Scoundrel! You give that back this instant! That's not yours! That is an exceedingly personal garment that belongs to a lady of this establishment, and they would not appreciate you fondling their private things. Oh, but it's alright for you, you wooden pervert. I'm not doing anything so criminal and malicious as you are. I'm merely soaking in sensations necessary to my growth as an individual. Yes, farewell, Louise. Hilarious. Okay, we found the scent. Now we're gonna get a free point to charisma. Woo! Vivian greets you with a polite half smile. Had you any luck in finding my scent, perchance? Yes, I found it in this red veil.
Updated my journal.
Vivian's eyes light up. Oh, how simply wonderful. She takes the veil from your hands, mutters a few words over it, and returns it to you. She shakes out her crimson hair, and in moments you are surrounded by the most intensely exotic and arousing scent you have ever had the pleasure of smelling. That smells great. It does it not? She smiles at you. And as you have done a favor for me, so I wish to perform one for you. Stand close to me, scarred one. Hello, immortal space bogan. How's my torment? Pretty good, actually. My throat feels good still. We're making good progress. We got Fall from Grace into our party, so yeah, we're doing well. Hope you're doing well as well. God, I said well so many times there. Well as well. Hope you're doing good as well. That sounds better. Approach her. You step closer to Vivienne. She takes your hand and, turning it over, takes a single cautious sniff of your wrist. Phew! She wrinkles her nose. Vinegar! Or embalming fluid. Here, I will remove this smell from you. She mutters a few strange syllables, and a light tingling sensation spreads over your skin. In moments, your chemical reek lessens substantially. There, how is that? People should be less eager to avoid conversation with you now. Thanks, Vivian. Farewell. Alright, charisma increased by 1. Poggers. I brought your crimson veil. Then would you please hand it over? Of course, here you are.
Updated my journal.
You hold the crimson veil before you and feel her take it from your hands. Ah, yes, much better. Oh, God damn it, I forgot to set up the text-to-speech again. I knew I had to do something. Ah, I'm such an idiot. I'm sorry, but why wash yourself when you can just use magic? My thoughts exactly. But thank you for the 8 bits, man. Much love and God bless. Thank you. Really appreciate it, my dude. Indeed, why wash yourself when you can just or you could just put on a fedora, I guess. That would also work. That would also make you infinitely more charismatic. But thanks again, man. Really appreciate it. Farewell, Marissa. Alright, now coming to this brothel was kind of a detour. We still have the lower ward to do. There's still a lot of stuff we can do there. A lot of XP to be had and stuff like that.
It is good to be journeying again. The brothel was a learning experience, but I think it was time I moved on.
All right.
Also, I guess we could go and maybe pick up Ignis. At least temporarily. Yeah, I have so much junk I need to sell. Look at all this garbage. He's probably burning to see. God damn, the puns. Yeah, he's ablaze with passion, you could say. This tall, slender woman, sipping wine from a small ceramic cup, appears to be looking for someone. Her facial features are elegantly exotic, and the woman's ears, though partially covered by her long hair, can be seen to come to sharp points. Please don't tell me she's an elf. Greetings. The woman turns to face you, violet eyes flashing like flawless chips of amethyst. Her speech is as music. You can hear a faint musical tinkling, 100 tiny crystal bells as she speaks. Each word lingers in your ears as if they were unwilling to relinquish the exquisite sound. Namel turned to face the scarred, dour stranger. She asked what she wished of her.
Wow.
Pah! Anna sneers at Mort.
Stop your drooling, you leering skull. My, what a hot-blooded little chit. Starved for attention. I could drool over you too, if you're just jealous.
Mort starts floating towards Anna, making wet, slavering noises.
Get a hairbreadth closer, skull, and I'll see to it that not one of your chattering teeth lies within 100 paces of another.
Mort stops abruptly, turning away while muttering unintelligibly. You're Namel? I was told you know the command word for this decanter. The woman makes no move to touch or examine the decanter, but only speaks. Namel took it from the stranger, turning it in her hands. Had she seen its like before, she thought. Perhaps, yes, she remembered now. She returned the decanter, whispering into his ear as she did so.
Updated my journal.
You realize you know the word now, nil de nosage. Though you're certain the woman never whispered to you, but merely said she did, she blinks at you. Would the stranger leave her now, satisfied with what she had told him? Yes, I will. Alright, let's go and pick up the hottest guy in Sigil. See what I did there? Hottest guy in Sigil. Because he's on fire. Get it?
Fell has a studio down here, does he not?
Good as done.
I just realized I forgot to turn up the music again.
How may I help?
Done.
Good as done.
Oh, these
Very well.
thugs just don't stop. Oh, look at this well-armed
Welcome, my little friends.
party of
Please
adventurers.
relax. Keep your weapons at your sides.
Hey, Zarayu. Thanks for the raid, my dude. And how was your stream?
Done.
It is just me. Well, you are worth 10 people, at least. I'm only worth 5 people myself. But welcome, welcome. You have the hiccups again? You need to hold your breath
Were you raised in the
while
hive?
drinking water, while having someone scare you, while jumping up and down. What else? What else? What other methods were there? Them CDI text-to-speech.
Mind your own business, succubus. I've nothing to say to you.
Very well then.
That's why I never get rid of my hiccups. Yeah, you gotta... There's a lot of like folk methods for getting rid of hiccups, but you need to... the trick is to do them all at the same time. Yeah, while drinking water upside down, you need to like combine all of them.
Done.
I'm joking, of course. Don't do that. You might die. You know, we're not the nameless one. We can actually die, but he can't. Actually, no, that's not true. He can die, he just won't stay dead. Dying gets rid of hiccups 100% of the time. I mean, that's a fair point. Alright, let's get Ignis, the hottest guy in Sigil. I wonder if this decanter of endless water will do something. You tilt the decanter over the grill and begin to pour. A small stream of ice blue water pours from the decanter and touches the flames of the grill with a violent hissing and a rush of steam. As if in response to this challenge, the decanter seems to lunge forward, falling onto the grill and shattering. By the hells! Hissing billows of steam and a furious crackling noise rushes from the grill, spilling over you and forcing you to cover your ears and turn away. There is a scream, a cackling, a terrible sound like 100 buildings burning. People screaming, their screams being cut short by the roar of flame and melting flesh. Cover your ears, block out the sound. As you put your hands over your ears to block out the sound, you feel a stickiness on your hands, like hot cheese or candle wax. Your ears are bleeding from the sound. You draw your hands back and see them covered with chunks of melted flesh filled with bloody swirls. Try and get out of the bar. You are about to run from the bar, anything to get away from the sound, when suddenly all falls silent, except for a jagged crackling coming from the grill. You turn. On the grill lies the decanter of endless water, now nothing but shards and steam. Above it is the creature, flames still trailing from its body, floating over the bar's floor. It is staring at you, its eyes flickering like two torches. I know you.
Yes.
The creature's face splits, charred flesh peeling away from its jaw so that it might speak. Its voice crackles, burns, roars through the creature's chest, and with every word, flakes of cinder and ash spit from its mouth and drift into the air. You can barely stand to look at the thing. The blazing radiance surrounding it is terrible to behold. Ignis.
Yes. Long have I slept, dreams of flames. I am yours, till death comes for us both.
I love his voice, by the way. We shall see.
You know, I've learned some new tricks.
Sounds delicious. Yeah, the good thing about Ignis is that you can fry bacon on the go, wherever you are. You know, you just hold it close to him. Man, the dude's got 19 intelligence and 20 constitution. That's crazy. He's only level 7. What a scrub. He's got 3 charisma. Your charisma is repulsive. It's kind of crazy that this guy is wiser than Minsk. Minsk has 6 wisdom, and this insane motherfucker has 8. And for some reason he's chaotic neutral instead of chaotic evil. I don't really understand. But anyway, we picked him up for a reason, and we're about to do it.
I'm gone.
If you ever wonder whom they're celebrating a Burning Man. Why does that sound familiar? Burning Man. Wait. Oh yeah, the Burning Man festival. That's why it sounded familiar. Yeah. Might as well call it Ignis Festival. Ignis's fireball. It's not that kind of fireball, it's a single target attack that he uses. And I leveled up, that's good. Yeah. Let's talk to him. Yes. Voice acting him is not gonna be good on my throat, I can already tell. Ignis, what happened to you to make you this way? This way. A small pocket of flesh on Ignis's cheek pops and runs in a steaming trickle down his jaw. This way, Ignis always was. But you look human, or at least you look like you were human once. Ignis twists, hunching his head forward as his body spins slowly above the ground. The effect is much like a fiery whirlwind, thermal streaming off his body and distorting the air around him. Still Ignis, always Ignis. Never mind then. As you open your mouth to speak, Ignis suddenly whirls on you. You are forced to choke back your words as the heat from his frame floods over you. Ignis, might you be sparks in bodies, always seeking to rise. Sparks in bodies? What do you mean? All things burn inside. Ignis's head cranes back and throws his arms wide, spirals of flame and heat traveling up his arms. Only need to be kindled with flames to become Ignis. So might you have been Ignis. So you're saying everyone has the potential to become like you with the right spark? Yes. Chaotic neutral means he does not obey the laws of human society, but also does not lust after killing for the sake of killing. But the dude literally burned down an entire region of the hive and killed everyone there just because he wanted to burn shit. Like, I mean, okay, maybe you could make the argument that he's insane and he doesn't really realize that he's hurting people, but like, I don't know. You see, if this was Baldur's Gate, he would absolutely be evil. But maybe it's because of Torment, and you know, in Torment the whole like conflict between law and chaos is kind of it's an important part of the lore, so maybe Ignis is meant to like represent ultimate chaos, while Valor is like ultimate law, or something like that, I don't know. I don't know, I'm just ruminating. Yes. Your heart jumps as Ignis soars several feet into the air and his jaw tears open, fiery trails spilling forth like a nest of snakes. No more talk and questions. Silence. But I wish to speak of flames, Ignis, and of burning. Your words are like oil, and you watch them fill Ignis's eyes, fanning the flames you see there. Flames? Ignis drifts down slightly, the heat around him rising, as if in interest. Speak. Ignis will listen. Ignis, is it true you burned down the Alley of Dangerous Angles? Ignis's face splits, the flesh around the corner of his mouth cracking, then remelting into charred, sneering red and black pieces. Yes, a dream shall Ignis share. Maybe later. For now, I wish to speak more of burn. A torrent of flames pours from Ignis, and you take a step back, the air bending from the heat. Streets at night, so cold. Ignis burned the buildings, the dwellers. All ran from Ignis. The flames and the buildings were as flames. Screams as the dwellers became torches. Buildings as skeletons. Angles. Bodies as skeletons, reds and oranges and blacks, the flames spreading, caressing such lights. Ignis's fury dies, the reeds of flame surrounding him ebbing somewhat. He seems to be lost in thought, perhaps lost in memory. And Ignis was pleased. What were you doing in the smoldering corpse bar? For a moment you don't think Ignis has heard you, when suddenly the fires in his eyes dim slightly and he gives a soft hiss, cinders and ash dancing at the edges of his jaw. Ignis once knew nothing of flames. Yes. Once Ignis knew nothing of flames. He set small fires, tiny flames, tiny flickerings, small bits of flame. Ignis hisses again, ashes and fiery motes drifting from the ruin of his mouth. The fires grew. Ignis set fires in their streets, and lit the fires of anger in their hearts. Yes. You speak, but Ignis doesn't seem to hear you. He seems to be somewhere else, as if reliving a memory through his words. Against your will, you stop and listen. They sought to punish Ignis, the small flies from the hive. They wished to see Ignis burn, after Ignis set fire to their streets. Tiny magelings, hedge wizards, rune casters, tiny sparks of magic came to punish Ignis for hurting their loved ones. They sentenced Ignis to burn, made Ignis a torch, a spitting flame, burning, burning. It was justice, they said. Justice. You watch, mesmerized, as Ignis begins slowly turning again, as he did above the grill in the smoldering corpse. But it was not a sentence. There is so much flames and pain that there is no pain. There is light and heat, and the flesh runs as tallow across my bones. And for the first time, Ignis is pleased. Ignis stops his rotation and his gaze falls upon you. As it does, the fires in his eyes flare, and a charred grin splits his features, the flesh crackling and bubbling as it melts and streams across his face. Ignis wears the face of all hells of flames, and his next words are spoken like a death sentence, not only for you, but for everyone, everywhere. When the plains burn and all life is torches, then Ignis shall at last be at peace. He wants to burn the entire multiverse. Ignis, I spoke with a storyteller in the hive, and he mentioned that someone taught you these things. Who? Of learnings and teachings, you know. Gouts of flame erupt from Ignis's mouth in a horrid semblance of laughter. You have always thought Ignis master you were. Me? Are you sure?
Updated my journal.
What a relaxed fellow the Ignis dude is, yeah? You know, he's just burning with passion. Ignis' voice drops and the crackling of the flames dies. Yes, it is the only reason Ignis obeys you. Flames rise around him in a crackling spiral, till death comes for us both. Your words to me, to your student Ignis. Yeah, okay, chaotic evil makes more sense. Yeah. Your words, Ignis has not forgotten, Master. Ignis, it must have been long ago when you learned the art. Are you absolutely sure it was me? Yes. Ignis cackles. Yes, the face has changed, but many lessons you taught Ignis. If my face has changed, how do you know? Inside all things, tiny flames. The spark, the flames, the same. No matter what the skin. Skin can bleed, skin can burn, but the inner flame remains. Ignis, this is important. Can you remember anything about me? Ignis hisses, and for a moment his features flicker. At first you think it's the flames, but it's not. It's the flickering of memory. The crackling of Ignis's flames subsides, lessening as the charred bones of Ignis's body fold up, twisting into itself until his limbs lie motionless, becoming a stack of wood within a huge iron fireplace. You are staring into a fire, burning brightly within a vaulted room. The fire cackles and spits embers onto the stone floor, motes rising from the fireplace. Faintly, from the darkness behind you, you can hear the rasp of someone breathing. I can hear you. Step into the light. There's the shuffling of sandals, and a frail youth steps into the edges of the firelight. His wide black eyes catch the flames and mirror them. He is nervous. You can hear his muscles shaking, his voice trembling. Just enough to increase your irritation. Forgive my intrusion, master. You have already intruded, supplicant. You did so with intention. I will hear it now, then you will leave me to my thoughts. The boy takes a deep breath and glances at the fire. Master, I dreamed of flames again last night. They felt real, and you said that we were to come to you if... It was a dream, nothing more. Now leave. The boy does not move. His brows draw together, and slowly he displays his hand, the flesh around the fingers, blackened, burned. How did your hands come to be burned, supplicant? I awoke, and my hands were as ash. The boy meets your gaze. He is still trembling faintly, but there is an eagerness in his voice which angers you. I dreamed I soared above the earth, and the ground and sky were as fire. The world itself was so bright that it hurt to look at it, master. And when I awoke, my hands... they were burned, as if I had held a flame within my hands. You lie, supplicant. You have come to me with a story, and now you are in danger of angering me. No, master. The boy's face glistens with a sweaty sheen of fear. No, upon my life, I do not. You burned yourself with a candle, supplicant, or thrust your hand within one of the pyres in the vault of currents. Now you come to me and tell me a dream burnt you. I tire of your lies. The boy falls silent, and to your surprise, his face clenches in anger. No, I do not lie. It was the dream that burnt me, master, as you said it might if we felt the power stirring. They were your words, and I came to repeat them to you and tell you they are true. He holds up his hands. Look, master. Grab his hands. Before the boy can react, your hand, huge in comparison, lashes out, crushing his burned hands in its grip, and the boy screams, echoing in the vault. With a snarl, you hurl him to the ground in front of the fireplace, and there's a sharp crack as his knees strike the flagstones. Look into those flames, supplicant. Raise your head. Look. The boy is shuddering from the pain from his knees. You watch tears blur his eyes as he raises his head to look into the fireplace. The flames cast his face in a red, gaunt glow. Is that what you wish to hold, supplicant? Is the shaping of flames what stirs your heart? Know that flames can burn, and if you would learn their power, you must suffer their touch. The boy is silent, staring into the flames. He seems mesmerized. His tears have dried in the heat, and the shaking is gone. The flames are his focus. He is not listening to you, and you feel fury washing over you. If that is what consumes you, enough for you to intrude upon my meditations, then I shall teach you of the shaping of flames, supplicant. Your hand lashes out and clamps onto the boy's wrist. He howls as you drag him closer to the fireplace, then thrust his hands into the coals. There is a crackling, a hissing of burning flesh, and he screams, such terrible, yet, "To learn, you must suffer, supplicant. You must allow yourself to be burned by the power of that which you wield. Know its torment, and you shall know how to use it against your enemies."
Updated my journal.
Your vision clears, the memory streaming away like smoke. Ignis is hovering above you, his head cocked to one side, and an insane, blackened grin smeared across his face. "Master, Ignis has not forgotten your teachings." "Ignis, about your teaching, about the torments I subjected you to, I'm sorry." "Flames, no torments." Ignis slowly turns, twisting above the ground. He may have heard you, but you don't know if the words meant anything to him. Probably not a good idea to call him supplicant. "Ignis, your mastery of the art. Can you teach me any of your powers?" "Ignis once knew much, no longer. Ignis burns. In suffering, Ignis learns." A tiny flame gusts from his mouth like laughter, and a stream of embers spits forth. "Suffer, learn." "I am willing to suffer for such knowledge." As you are about to speak the words, you feel a crawling sensation in the back of your skull, and you are suddenly struck with the certainty that the knowledge Ignis has to teach may permanently scar you, but you don't know how you know this. Repeat. I am willing to suffer for such knowledge." "Suffer?" Flames flicker eagerly along the edges of Ignis's mouth, spiraling up along the melted ruin of his face. "Burn. Pieces of self are burned away. Ignis may still teach much." "I wish to learn, Ignis. Can you teach me some of the art?" "Where flames once burned, one may send them again." Before you can react, Ignis's claw lashes out and clutches your finger. And with a greedy he burns it, and through the searing pain you close your eyes and scream. You force your eyes open to see the burning mass of your hand from where Ignis touched it. He floats above, uncaring, cradling your finger, then snaps the tip off, leaving just the base. He hisses, cinders and ash drifting from his mouth, and he flicks the charred remains of your finger back to you. What did you do?"
Updated my journal.
"Teachings." Ignis cackles, the sound now strangely painful to your ears. "To learn, one must suffer." Okay, we gained a spell. Ignis's Charm. Seeking Flames. Okay, let's suffer some more.
Yes.
Yes. Before you can react, Ignis's claws lash out and clutch your left hand. And with a mad cackle and with a greedy he burns it. Through the searing pain, you close your eyes and scream. You force your eyes open to see the burning mass of your hand from where Ignis touched it. Only a blackened stump remains, twitching, blood steaming from it. Ignis seems oblivious to your pain. His attention is devoted to your severed hand, which he is holding, admiring it like a trophy. "Ignis, give me back my hand." Ignis ignores you. You watch his flames from his hands encircle your severed hand like a wreath, slowly burning the last remains of flesh from it, like a sculpture, until only the fused bone remains. He gives a long, low "sss" and then flings his creation back to you. You manage to catch it in your remaining hand. You notice the flesh of your severed hand is reknitting itself, slowly, painfully. It looks like it's regrowing. What did you do?
Updated my journal.
Teachings. You need pieces of me in order to teach me? What about my eyeball? Ignis lashes out again, his finger like a spear, but he doesn't strike for the eye you can remove. Instead, he impales your other eye. There is no pain for a moment, only surprise. Then you scream as Ignis lets loose a stream of flames into your socket. They seem to eat into your skull. The hiss of burning flesh fills your nostrils, and smoke clouds your vision. You force your eyes open, barely open through your bloodied vision. Yet only one eye opens. You can barely make out Ignis hovering in the air in front of you, his hands cupping a small orb of flame in his hands, your eye seemingly untouched by the heat. As you watch, his hands cover the eye, and you feel a second burning pain in your eye socket. And suddenly, even through the searing pain, you can see correctly again. Ignis opens his hand, and within it, you can see the ruined mass of your eyeball, barely recognizable. Yet your eye is still in its socket. He cackles, and with a breath of flame, the eyeball rises from his grasp and drifts over to you, like a flake of ash in the air.
Updated
Take the
my
eyeball.
journal.
What about the strip of my intestines? Ignis cocks his head as you hold up your intestines, then he suddenly swoops in and snatches it from your grasp. Holding it, he strings it between two hands like rope, and he hisses to himself. You watch the intestines steam as he holds them, turning black, and you feel a slow, burning pain in your abdomen. Ignis strings out the intestines, handspan by handspan, and as he lets each length fall from his grasp, it starts rotating around him like a spiral, snaking in a slow pattern, each portion being roasted by his flames. There seems to be some dancing pattern to the way the flames are touching the strip of intestine, slowly blackening them until it looks like a long string of charred meat. The burning in your abdomen makes you wince, but it's nothing compared to the pain you felt when Ignis charred the other portions of your body. You watch your burning guts spiral in Ignis's flames, then suddenly they gutter out and they fall into Ignis's hands. He gives a hiss and throws them to you. Much powers in an immortal's organs.
Updated my journal.
You hold your charred intestines in your hand. They look like a blackened rope. Ignis hovers above you, tiny motes of ash drifting from his burning, emaciated frame. Thank you, Ignis.
I feel stronger.
Yummy. Hello, Zerael. We just finished torturing ourselves for the sake of learning more spells, and we lost quite a bit of HP in doing so, but it's worth it. Some of these spells are quite good, so I would say it's worth it. We also seem to have gained some fire resistance. We also leveled up. Now we have 5th level spells. And now we can put another point in Constitution. Alright. I think that's about it for Constitution. I don't think we need to put any more points here. I think we can start putting points in maybe Dexterity. Strength is kinda whatever in this game. I never found that I needed strength, so... So yeah. Let's also learn the spells that Ignis taught me. Infernal Shield. Ignis's Terror. Infernal Orb. Alright.
I'm gone.
I think that's it. I don't think we really need Ignis for anything else, because we're already a mage. We're gonna go and pick up Nordum at some point, but I don't wanna do the... I don't wanna do the Mordor maze just yet, because we're a bit... Because it's gonna be really brutal since I'm playing on the highest difficulty. Let's actually talk to Fall from Grace about Ignis. I wanted to talk about our companions. Hello Novinet, and hello Jenko. Wasn't expecting me to stream? Well, here I am. Who in particular did you wish to discuss? Ignis. You would be wise to travel with him no longer. He is insane, and he has proven capable of great acts of destruction. As I understand it, he was transformed into a conduit to the elemental plane of fire. Such a transformation would have killed many mortals. Who's that winged lady? That's Fall from Grace. She's our cleric. Not only did he survive such a trial, but he thrived. He possesses tremendous power. Should he be forced into a confrontation, I would fear for the chances of anyone who stood against him. I pray it does not come to that. If Ignis is so powerful, why doesn't he just attack everything he sees? Why does he even travel with us? I do not know, but I do not think it is because he likes our company. In fact, I think he considers all of us irrelevant except for you. I think it's because I was his teacher in the past. You were his teacher? Yes, one of my previous incarnations taught him the art, but I don't think it was a kind lesson. I think, in some dim way, he still considers me his master. Fall from Grace nods thoughtfully. That would explain a great deal. She studies your features for a moment. Did the realization trouble you? Yes, it did. I regret that my past lives touched Ignis and burned him so. Ignis burns within, with such fires that Beator itself would be shamed. He has become more than a sorcerer, more than a man. He has become a force. I can't help but wonder if that was part of his nature before he crossed paths with you. So yeah, this is Fall from Grace. She's the cleric. She's got 16 wisdom, which is not the worst. She's got 19 charisma, but that doesn't matter because you can't actually switch the party leader in this game. She is a succubus, and as a succubus she actually gets some natural resistances. 35% magic resistance, full fire resistance and electricity resistance, as well as 50% cold resistance. Does magic fire do something in this game? I don't remember. It might. I do know there's one fight much later on in the game with an enemy who uses magic fire, but again, I don't really remember. This is the other guy we picked up while we were gone. This is Ignis. He's a mage and he just taught us some spells. He's forever on fire. He's got 19 intelligence because he's genius, and he's got 20 constitution because he's, you know. Yeah, and he's got 3 charisma because he's, well, he's all constantly on fire. But yeah, I don't think we need Ignis anymore. We got what we needed from her. From him, I mean, not her. So yeah, we're gonna tell him to take a hike.
I will wait for your return.
Okay. One next. Oh yeah, I should really go and sell some stuff. This game was released between BG1 and 2. Yeah, it was released in 1999, if I remember correctly. So yeah, pretty much directly in between. Let's go here and sell some stuff.
All right.
Alec. You see an older man with long white hair and weathered yellow skin. He stands tall despite his obvious age. He smiles and gives you a light bow. Greetings. And to you as well, Cutter. How may I serve you? He raises his eyebrows and he awaits your answer. I'm interested in what you have for sale. Actually, I know I can use these. This pouch is useless, if I remember correctly. Handkerchiefs, we only need one. Much later on. Oh yeah, he doesn't buy anything. Oh, we need to sell to someone else. You see an older Anze. You see an older, stern-looking man. His face is a mixture of wrinkles and frown lines. Greetings. He gives you a quick, stiff bow. Aye, greetings to you as well. Anze is my name. What you be needing? I have some questions. He gives you a toothless grin. I reckon I got the time to give you the chant. What you be needing to know? I need to buy some magic items. You can talk to Alec next door. He may have what you need. I need to buy some weapons. I don't actually need to buy weapons. Siphon Knuckles. It's +2. Transfer hit points from target to wielder. Oh, so it's like Phobane. Has that Phobane mechanic. Notch dagger. Oh, it's +2. This is actually an improvement over my current weapon, so I'm gonna get this. Club of Nestles. Hammer. Oh, I have another of these. And of course, what am I doing? I can sell this too. Cinder, you see large blustery merchant. He looks to be totally hairless and his pale yellow skin is scarred as if from burns. He looks at you intently as you approach. Greetings. He smiles at you. Greetings, I'm Cinder. I heard about you. You be the scarred, clueless fella that be going around the wards asking questions. What can I be helping you with? You look like you have a few scars yourself. He frowns, then begins to laugh. Hi, that I do. A few years back I had me a kip set up in the hive. Some barmy mage decided to burn the ward right at a sigil. Almost took me with it. Sick for a month I was. A month? It's not all that long. He nods and gets a faraway look for a moment. Aye, it could have been worse. A local mage healed me, fixed the scars and all. Could have grown my hair back, but I kinda like the look. Do you think this mage could help me with my scars? He looks you over, then shrugs. I don't see why not. Your scars don't look that bad. He looks at you closely. Aye, now who's to say? You should talk to him yourself. Name's Sebastian, and he sets his kip up over by the foundry. What is this place?
He proudly gestures around him. It's the open air market. One of the best shops that's been Sigil. Fortune smiles on you to have entered it, Cutter. We have an empty stall. He points to the stall next to his. If you be a merchant yourself, you can just set up your kip and barter with the rest of us as long as you isn't too loud or too much of a bother.
Why is that stall empty?
He glances at the empty stall. Merchant by the name of Zach had his kip there. Got himself a page in the dead book recently. He frowns. Strange story that.
Strange in what way?
He thinks for a moment. Well, I don't know the dark of it all, but Zach had a bit of business trouble and needed some coin. He got himself a loan from Byron Pickett, the moneylender. After that, Big Pickett started trying to take the business from him, but Zach refused. Not long after that, Zach was a debtor. Pickett took his widow, Tris, to court to get the jinx Zach owed. She claimed the debt was paid and said she had the papers to prove it, but they turned up missing.
What happened?
With no proof of the debt being paid, the business was sold and the widow Trist held responsible for the remaining debt. She couldn't pay, so it's the block for her.
The block?
Aye, the auction block. If you can't pay your debts, you get sold into service for a few years as punishment.
We're gonna find the block.
Head north from the market. You can't miss it because of the crowd.
You said something about missing papers.
Updated my journal.
Aye, Trist be saying that her husband Zach paid the loan in full and that she had the papers to prove it. When she went to get them, they was gone. I'd be laid jig down that Pickett be behind it.
We're gonna find this Pickett.
Sets his kip right outside the market, Cutter. You can't miss him.
Is anyone looking into this matter?
Aye, the harmonium. He pauses for a moment and then sighs. No evidence of wrongdoing could be found, of course. Corvus, one of the harmonium guards here at the market, is really interested in finding what happened to Zach. If anything were to be found, he'd be the one to take it to.
Where can I find Corvus?
You can usually find him over there by the west exit. Would there be anything else you need to know?
I'm interested in spells.
I think I can help you. Let me show you my wares. Okay, he's got some scrolls. Shroud of Shadows. Improved strength. Force missiles. Force missiles, I remember being quite good. Confusion is good. Tasha's unbearable derisive laughter. Hold undead. Ball lightning hits like a truck. Cone of cold. Hello, Buffy. How's the throat? Pretty good, actually. I feel good. I feel comfortable. Dav's stream mysteriously crashed as he was about to nestle in Chosen of Zurich, by the way. Animan was silenced, Nalia near a permit. Ah. The mysterious crash. Is he gonna try again? When you get your stream and game crash buttons confused, yeah. A very convenient crash, I must say. I never have and never will, lol. Just lost power, T-Storm. Ah yes, the Floridian storms. Terrible things. It would be a shame if the storm were to cut off your power just as you're about to nestle.
I'm gone.
gator chew through the internet tubes. That seems like it would be a common problem in Florida. You see guilt spur. You see a florid, boisterous man. He's shouting and carrying on like there's a war that's about to come through. Like he's got something lodged in his intestines. Like he's too excited about something to talk in a normal tone of voice.
Ooh, an auction. Maybe we can sell Anna here.
I got ya if you had something to gut, Skull.
It must be love. It's love, right, boss?
Leave it off, you two. I need to ask some questions here. Nearest search 6 times out of 7 spell casts. Jesus. Sequencer, double good berries. Time stop, nope. Stone skin, nope. She got just 1 mantle. Yeah. Nearest the kind of girl to say, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. She is indeed very quirky. And her quirkiness almost nestled Dab if he didn't get saved by the crash. His rapid-fire delivery makes it difficult to understand him. You sir, you there! You look like you could use something. I'm not quite sure what it is yet, but give me time, and I'll have it figured out on the spot. You need rooms? I've got rooms. You need supplies? I've got supplies. What are you selling? What are you selling? What are you buying? Finally, I can free up some inventory. I'm selling my Dustman earring. Really holding true to my faction beliefs. Cheese. Look, you can buy cheese in this game. You don't have to cheese yourself, you can just buy it. Stinger earring. +2 to AC, +2 to AC versus piercing. Well, I'll take it. Don't think I need cheese. Wait, this cheese has been laced with a powerful poison. Ooh, poison cheese. And this is regular cheese. Well, I'll take the poison cheese. Maybe it'll come in handy. Alright, who gets the stinger earring? Well, only me and Paul from Grayskin. Why can't Dakon... Why can't Dakon wear earrings? Look at his ears. Like, look at that. How do you not fit any earrings in there? Maybe it's part against his religion to wear earrings. Well, I guess Anna can... Oh wait, Anna can wear these too. This is +5 to open locks. Yeah, who cares? Give her the... what's this? What's this? Link. Central Florida Electric Cooperative. Customers track 36,000. Customers out 1. Oh, poor guy. Damn. Poor dad. 36,000 people, and he's the only one. Could have been one of nearest surges. Yeah. Might have been. Oh yeah, if we talk to this guy and do him a favor, we'll get another 2 points of charisma. Sebastian. You see an older man in elegant robes. He has bright eyes and a warm smile. He gives you a slight bow as you approach. Good day, Cutter. I am Sebastian. How may I serve you? Greetings. Greetings to you as well, Cutter. He stops in mid-sentence as he notices your scars. You see his eyes travel along them and his eyebrows arch in surprise. He returns his gaze to you. I was about to ask what I could do for you, but there is no need. I think I see why you came to see me, Cutter. What, are you trying to say you can help me with these scars? He smiles at you and shrugs his shoulders. Perhaps, Cutter, perhaps. He leans forward and begins to examine your scars carefully. He runs a finger along several of them, mumbling to himself. Finally, he looks up at you. Yes, Cutter, I can help you. I cannot cure you, but I can alleviate the worst of your condition. And your price? Ah, yes, the price. He begins stroking his chin and stares at you. You get the impression you are being weighed somehow. He seems to come to some sort of a decision. I have a job that I think you could perform. Go on. I have signed a contract with a certain creature. I am no longer able to fulfill the contract. It is beyond my abilities. However, the creature will not release me from the contract. Instead, it has threatened me with death unless I fulfill the contract. Let me guess, you want me to solve this problem for you? Yes, I cannot do it myself. My reputation demands that I fulfill the contract or face the consequences. I am at your mercy in this regard. Will you help me? What kind of creature are we talking about? An Abishai named Grosuk, Cutter. He pauses to gauge your reaction. I know this is a difficult task, but one I think you can handle. Also, the reward I offer you is great. He gestures at your scars. What were you contracted to do? He shakes his head. I cannot reveal that information, Cutter. I am magically bound not to. That is why people come to me. They know that if I accept the contract, it will be handled with discretion. I see. An interesting proposal. He looks at you hopefully. Will you do it, Cutter? Yes, give me the details.
Updated my journal.
He smiles at you and gives a sigh of relief. Thank you, Cutter. The creature is an Abishai named Grosuk. You will need a magic weapon to cause it any harm, so check with some of the shops if you do not own one. A spellcaster can harm it as well. Grosuk can be found to the east, beyond the siege tower. Siege tower? Yes, over beyond the market. Damn thing just appeared one day, several years back. No one knows why, and no one seems able to get inside it to find out. Fine, farewell. Let's go and kill the Abishai. Maybe we can skin it and make an Abishai hide for 15% damage reduction. Grosuk, you see a reptilian creature with a snake-like body, 4-clawed feet, leathery wings and a draconian head. The scales covering its body are a vile shade of green. The creature stands upright on its hind legs, balancing with its prehensile tail. As you approach, its eyes narrow to slits and it begins to hiss. Greetings. The air around the creature begins to radiate heat, and its scales take on a pale sheen. It gives you a hungry look and appears ready to strike. Suddenly it releases a flurry of hisses and relaxes its stance a bit.
Go, Grosuk no talk, told wait.
It glares at you as its tail lashes back and forth. Sebastian, send me. The creature relaxes quite a bit and the air grows cooler. It holds out a clawed hand to you.
Give Grosuk information.
He looks at you expectantly. No, Sebastian sent me to kill you. Without a moment's hesitation, the creature lunges at you.
Done.
Ow.
Huh? Sure, why not? You dog's body.
I'm listening.
Oh, he died. Dude, I need to put like an epilepsy warning to the stream title. Like, holy shit, this flashing like of light on the screen is crazy.
Done.
Oh well. Wait, what? Look at that. His tail is still wagging. He's still alive. That's an interesting bug. I hope he's actually dead, by the way. I hope it's not bugged. Because if he is, then we won't get our charisma boost. We'll just reload if he's bugged. Sebastian smiles at your approach. Good day, Cutter. Have you completed your quest? Yes, and I've come for what is due to me. One moment, please, Cutter. Sebastian reaches into his robe and removes a small crystal ball. He gazes into it for a moment before returning his attention to you. I cannot thank you enough, Cutter. I shall live up to my part of the bargain. Are you ready? Yes. Charisma +2. It is done. It is done, Cutter. Once again, I thank you. Sebastian bows deeply to you. Thank you, and farewell, Sebastian.
Updated my journal.
Alright, we got 16 charisma now. Now you'll be prettier, yes. We are indeed slightly prettier. I remember Ball Lightning being probably the best spell here. Ignis's Terror is really good too. Protection from evil, bless, and 3 cure light wounds. Aid is not very good. Spiritual hammer. I'll take a couple. After this game, I'll never see people with stuff in their hair with the same eyes again. Gonna be great. Yeah. Cure serious wounds. Let's get some rest.
All right.
There we go. Oh yeah, this guy Karur, if you're a fighter and you're level 13, he can teach you up to Grand Mastery with weapons. But since we already got our first mage specialization, we cannot become more than specialized and weapons. But I mean, doesn't really matter. We're not the ones dealing damage with melee. I'm thinking maybe we should go and kill some worms. Although honestly I would much rather have Cloud kill before I do that. But I can't remember where I can get a Cloud kill scroll. Whatever. Let's embrace the reading. Because there's a lot of reading here again. Wharton, you see a Harmonium officer. He gives you a bored look as you approach. Greetings. He gives you a bored look. Greetings, citizen. Measure 3 Wharton, at your service. I have some questions. I don't mean to be rude, but I am on duty and have no time for questions. If you would like information, go talk to Ebb Creek Niece. Okay. Fine. Karur. You see a middle-aged man wearing dusty clothes. He does not appear to be in the best of health. His skin is pale yellow and you see an occasional pustule along his arms. Greetings. He turns and glances at you from behind hollow eyes. His eyes narrow in suspicion as he continues to glance around. What do you want? His voice is raspy. I have some questions. He turns his attention to you. What are you bothering me for? I look the part of a tout? I'm trying to remember how much reading is left. I think there's at least 10 more streams. Yeah, roughly. Depends on how long I stream each time, of course. But yeah, there's still plenty to go. You seem to be a knowledgeable individual that I can learn from. What you be wanting to know? Who are you? He gives you a slight bow. Name's Karur. In my day, I was a pretty good warrior. Well, them days is over, but I still know a trick or two. Are you feeling alright? Nothing a few years of death won't cure. Air's be getting worse in the world of late. By my reckon, it should level out once the Great Foundry settles, or a wind blows through from the spire. What is with the air here? It's mostly because of all the portals. What do you mean? Lots of doors to the lower planes here let in the bad air and fumes, and such from who knows what layer of the abyss. That's why this here's the lower ward. A jaunt through this area is like breathing in a meal. Salt, smoke, pipe weed. It's all yellow blankets of smoke and stinging sulfurous gas that this ward spits out. He gives you a gap-toothed smile. Pretty, eh? Yes, you mentioned the foundry. Center of the word, pretty much. Look for the stacks. Them gutsmen make a bunch of things out of iron. Nothing fancy, but they work. Add to the bad air, too. Gutsmen? The believers have their kip in the Great Foundry, banging and singing and chanting their barmy silliness on being powers in the next 10 upon 10 and a bunch of other 10 lifetimes. He rolls his eyes, then spits a brown mass from his mouth. All they do is suffer and slave and work. I slaved twice as hard, and no way am I going to be any sort of power, you understand me, Burke? You said something about the winds earlier. At times, winds blow in from Sigel's spire and drive the smog out. For a while. What can you tell me about this word? You clueless? Craftsmen, shops, warehouses all have their kip here. He squints at you, his eyes somewhat bleary.
You're looking for something in particular. What's there to do around here?
He studies you for a moment, then looks at you knowingly.
You looking to get your iron tempered, maybe? Yeah. None of them places near. Might try some of the kips in the other wards, if and that's what you be after.
Excuse me?
Sorry, Cutter. Never you mind. You looking for something in particular?
I could use some jink.
If you be looking for work, then your luck's run dry. Little enough to go around for those who live here.
I'd like to buy some things.
If you're looking to buy an item or two, or peddle some higher merchandise, then I would make one's way to the open air market.
Oh, wait. What can you tell me about the market?
You can buy and sell there, Burke. Be a market. What else is there to say about it?
Is there anything interesting to see around here? After the streams, I can become a professional voice coach and actor. There's actually good money in that. Nah. I appreciate you saying, but nah. Never.
Well, there's the tower. It seems to come up in the chant a lot.
Tell me about the tower.
One of the more damnable mysteries of this world. Here tell it simply dumped itself in Sigil one day many years ago. No idea where it came from, how it got there, or how to get in the damn thing. Takes up space, it looks like a site. All the mass it burns, weapon scars. Looks like it's seen a few hundred wars, it does.
Anything else come to mind?
Can't think of anything of interest.
Okay. Helsen. The man has a yellow cast to his skin and gaunt features. Tattoos and scars cover his body, and he wears a long blade across his chest. His eyes are like two small black stones. As you approach, he bows to Dakon. All beholden, Zerth. What? Doing the movie theater commercials is not for you?
One man, one mission. He is the mission man.
Come on, it's basically free money for you. I think my accent would also put a lot of employers off. But I'm glad you enjoyed the stream and, you know, my reading. It makes me happy that other people enjoy it.
This one is numbered among the faithful.
He bows.
It is my will that you know this human travels with me. Will you hear him?
I simply had a few questions. His words are known to me, Zerth. His actions are not. His shadow speaks of one who has seen combat and bested all that stood against him. Do my eyes fail to see beyond the still circle?
Your question flies true. It is my will that you know we walk the same path. Will you hear him?
I will hear him, Zerth. He turns to face you and waits your questions. Ask your questions. Direct them as you would direct your mind.
Who are you?
He bows his head to you. I am Helsin, a soldier of the Gitzerai. I am here to gather supplies. I have discovered that this city is like Trigor's gem. Okay, that is a weird word. Oft praised, but little of value is to be found in it. The air is poor for one of the people, and those within it who do not know themselves. They are empty shells.
Where'd you get your scars?
He raises his arms and holds them to his face, then his chest, in a reverent gesture. The scars that bedeck my face come from encounters in the halls of Ilsensen. My Rukma band was nearly devoured by cowardly Illithids. The scar upon my upper torso comes from the weak-driven blade of a Githyanki kinstealer. He nods at your scars. Speak the history of your scars.
It is a sign of honor to ask about one's scars. It shows respect for your history. I do not recall how I earned most of them.
His expression alters slightly. Whether in confusion or contempt, you cannot tell. How can scars not tell stories of how they came to be?
I have lost the memory of their past and my past as well.
He pauses for a moment, absorbing this, and then touches lament. Then I mourn your loss of mind and history.
Where'd you get your tattoos?
They speak of the history of my kin and grant me their strength and minds. One edged by Argerok of the Isle of Seal tells of my kin, Gillikai, who buried his enemies in the walls of Shraktlor. Another here was inscribed by Fel, the Dabbus who walks, and tells of the battle of Roji and myself as we fought 7 Slayety in the plains of Limbo before the 8 silenced Roji's mind. He nods at your tattoos. Speak the history of your tattoos.
They speak of the obstacles I have overcome and the tales of my past, lest I forget them.
He closes his eyes and bows. Your tales are noted, Swordringer.
Thanks. Farewell.
Kina. This woman has a yellow cast to her skin and severe features. Tattoos cover her body, and she wears a long blade at her side. Her eyes are like 2 small black pearls. As you approach her, they follow Dakon's movements. Before you reach her, Dakon breaks in.
I would have you hear me.
Why is it, Dakon?
It is my will that we do not speak to this woman.
Very well then, we will not.
You have my gratitude.
Think nothing of it. We can talk to her later, we just need to tell Dakon to wait somewhere else. Xanthia. You see a pretty young woman in fine clothes. Her skin lacks the usual yellow tint of the inhabitants of this world. She appears to be watching 3 nearby creatures with interest.
Greetings.
She turns to face you, and an annoyed look crosses her face. Yes, what do you want?
I have some questions.
Fine.
Who are you?
My name is Xanthia. She looks you up and down, then frowns. Is there something else you want?
I have some questions. What are you doing here?
There's going to be a fight, and I want to see it. She smiles wickedly. It should be interesting.
A fight?
Yes, see the 3 Thokola over there? She points to the 3 hulking creatures with rippling muscles. They're going to try to kill an Abishai. The stupid oafs.
I've heard of something called an Abishai. What exactly is it?
It's a lower plains creature, a Beatezu, I think. In any case, Abishai have nasty dispositions, sharp claws, and can cast spells. Very formidable.
The Thokola look like they can take care of themselves.
Hello, just swinging by to say hi because I gotta get up in like 5 hours to work a 12-hour shift, so I can't save. Have a nice Planescape. Thank you, Warboss, and good luck on your shift, man. Don't exert yourself too much. Take breaks and stay strong. You got this. But have a good time at work. Well, as good a time as you can have at work. But thanks for stopping by. Normally I would say yes, Thokola are very powerful warriors. However, I know something they don't.
What might that be?
Abishai can only be hurt by magic. The Thokala will be slaughtered, I have no doubt of it. She straightens up and watches the Thokala eagerly. How do you know they can only be hurt by magic? I'm staring at a road in the middle of the woods inside a little guard barracks, so it's not even remotely difficult work, just a long ass shift. Yeah, but still. Work is work. But I hope you have a good day. She gives you an annoyed look. My husband is very high up in the Harmonium. The Harmonium guards are trained to deal with creatures such as Abishai. That's how I know. My husband told me.
Why don't you warn the Thokala?
Why should I do that? She smiles evilly. I'm the one who suggested the fight.
Why?
My husband tries to better his social standing with his underlings by drinking with them in the local taverns. Last evening he forced me to just such an occasion. Those 3 oafs were there, boasting of their prowess as warriors. It was obvious they were in a drunken stupor. When they decided to leave, one of them tripped and fell into the table I was sitting at. Most of the drinks at the table spilled into my lap and ruined a very expensive evening gown. So while the cretin was trying to apologize, I whispered to him that I only accepted the apology of a warrior of stature. If he were truly such a warrior, he'd be able to defeat an Abishai in hand-to-hand combat.
You're going to get them killed because they ruined the dress?
Updated my journal.
You obviously do not understand the intricacies behind this situation. She looks at you like you are an idiot child. I was embarrassed and humiliated in front of my husband and his underlings. She looks angry. This huge creature stands over 9 feet tall. Rippling muscles support its massive frame. It seems to be engaged in conversation with 2 similar creatures next to it.
Greetings.
He turns at your greeting and begins to look about. After a moment, he looks down and notices you. A look of confusion crosses his features.
What you want of Zerb?
I have some questions. He gives you an apologetic look and shakes his head.
Zerb not speak language well. Sorry, you talk Thorpe.
He gestures to one of the creatures next to him.
Alright.
This creature is huge, standing over 9 feet tall. Rippling muscles support its massive frame. As you approach, he leers at you and laughs.
Greetings.
He looks down at you and gives you a friendly smile.
What you want, Smalley?
I have some questions.
You got question? Maybe Thorpe got answer.
He smiles at you.
Who are you?
He smacks himself in the chest with a thunderous blow.
Thorpe!
He raises his arms above his head and shakes his fists at the sky.
Mighty warrior is Thorpe. All Thokala are mighty warriors.
He places his fists on his hips and glares at you.
Who you?
I don't remember my name. He nods at you as he examines your scars.
You got mighty scars. You must be great warrior, like Thorpe.
He frowns and nods wisely.
You got hit on the head too many times. Not remember name. Someday it come back. What are you doing here?
He barks out a laugh and smiles at you.
Thorpe here with friends.
He gestures at the nearby Thokala.
We're gonna barsh a flying lizard.
He lets out a roar and begins to pound his chest with fists the size of hams.
A flying lizard?
He nods his head, then begins to make crawling motions.
Lizard, you know, but it fly.
He begins to flap his arms like a huge misshapen bird. Eventually he settles down and looks at you expectantly.
You mean a dragon?
He snorts and raises to his full height.
Thorpe good, but he not that good. Someday Thorpe want to brash dragon.
He stares off into the distance with a longing expression, then sighs.
But this not that day. Well, if it's not a dragon you're talking about, then what is it? Thorpe not remember what Xanthia call it. He pauses to think. It lizard, tall as Thorpe. Walk on back legs, got wings, got claws, red in color. They think she say they called Abby shy? He pauses, then shrugs. I've heard of something called an Abishai. Is that what you mean?
Updated my journal.
His eyes light up and he gives you a joyful smile as he nods his head.
Yes, Abishai, flying lizard. Thorpe and friends barsh real good. Thorpe be warrior of stature then. Xanthia accept apology. What's this about Xanthia and an apology? Thorpe take friends to tavern last night. Thorpe gets stinking drunk. Fall on Xanthia's table. Spill drinks all over her.
He looks embarrassed.
Xanthia says she not accept apology unless Thorpe be warrior of statue. So killing an Abishai is supposed to give you statue.
Updated my journal.
He shrugs. Xanthia say so. Thorpe not know. I've talked to Xanthia. She said you're going to fight an Abishai.
He smiles and nods at you enthusiastically.
That right. Thorpe and French barsh.
Warren Thorpe.
I've learned that Abishai can only be hurt by magic weapons.
Updated my journal.
He gives you a worried look.
Need magic? How you know? I've talked to Xanthia. She told me.
He seems confused at first, then a look of realization appears on his face.
Xanthia played Thorpe for a coney. She lie. Try get Thorpe and friends dead. I'm afraid so, Thorpe.
He nods.
Xanthia not deserve apology. Thorpe free from debt to her. Yes, you are free of your debt. Thorpe, thank you. You saved life. You saved life of friends.
He turns to the other Thokola and speaks to them hurriedly. After a moment, all three bow to you and each hands you a pouch of coins.
Thank you. You good friend, you deserve. I must be going.
You see Xanthia. She gives you a look filled with hatred. You warned the brute, didn't you?
Yes, I did what I felt was right.
She nods her head slowly. I will not forget this insult. Good day to you. She turns and leaves. Right. It is midnight right now and I do kinda need to sleep. We almost hit 3 hours, which is solid, I guess. So I think we are gonna call it here for tonight. We'll pick off where we left off tomorrow. We'll pick up where we left off tomorrow, most likely. It looks like the Vayorn is back to streaming, so we'll give him a cheeky raid. And yeah. Thank you guys for watching, as always. Appreciate you hanging out, chatting with me, and making this all worth it. We'll probably be back tomorrow around the same time, most likely. So yeah, make good choices, everyone. Be good, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.